The bunch recycling module, or BRM, can accept and validate deposited notes. The notes are either stored or recycled for dispensing in bunches of up to 300 notes, depending on note quality. The BRM is made up of the upper module and the lower module. The upper module is located in the ATM cabinet. With the ATM's mid-box opened, after the safe is unlocked, the orange latch is used to release and extend the upper module. The components of the upper module include the pocket, the upper transport, the bridge transport, the upper exception bin, the escrow, the bill validator, and the intermediate transport. The lower module is located in the ATM's security enclosure or safe. The safe door must be opened to gain access to the lower module. Use the orange latch to release and extend the lower module. Lower module components include the lower horizontal transport, sometimes called the cassette transport, the vertical transport, the lower exception cassette, sometimes called the lower exception bin, and the 4 recycler cassettes. The pocket is where bunches of notes are accepted and dispensed. It features a camera for stack and shutter observation, as well as other security-related functions. The pocket has a metal object detection system to detect metals that could cause damage to the transport or hinder smooth movement of notes. It also performs foreign object detection through software monitoring of feed performance. The upper transport provides note paths to and from the pocket and between the other devices in the module. The horizontal bridge transport, located above the bill validator, provides a path for notes from the rear of the upper module to the front. An optional upper exception bin is located just to the rear of the pocket. It can store up to 50 counterfeit notes. The escrow can hold around 300 notes depending on note quality. The notes that are stored in the escrow are either moved to the recycle cassettes, returned to the customer, or moved into the lower exception bin. The bill validator first identifies and then validates notes by comparing them to stored templates. In certain applications, the bill validator can also classify notes according to their condition. If the upper exception bin is present, notes that the bill validator determines are counterfeit will be routed there. They will not be returned to the customer. The upper and lower modules are connected by the intermediate transport, which is located at the top of the security enclosure. The intermediate transport is driven by the upper transport. The upper and lower modules self-align with the intermediate transport. The intermediate transport passes notes to the lower horizontal transport in the lower module. The lower horizontal transport moves notes to the recycler cassettes. It is also connected to the vertical transport, which moves notes to the exception cassette when required. Notes from the recycle cassette travel from the lower transport to the upper transport through the intermediate transport. The lower exception bin has 3 compartments. Depending on the bin configuration, the lower exception bin can store counterfeit notes, rejected notes, retracted notes, or deposited notes. The recycler cassettes store notes. They can be configured to only accept and store notes, to only dispense notes, or to recycle notes. In other words, to both accept and dispense. The upper control board is located behind a panel near the IGUS chain on the upper module. The lower control board is located behind the panel that contains the lower module status indicator lights. The BRM is supplied with 24 volts of DC power for operation. There is an extensive array of sensors that evaluate the quality and authenticity of notes, track the movement of notes, and monitor the performance of the BRM. There are 2 sets of red, amber, and green overall status indicators provided. One set is in the top box near the operator panel. The second set of indicators is on the lower module below the orange module latch. The upper light in each set represents the status of the BRM's upper module. A flashing red light indicates a jam or fault. A solid red light indicates that a latch is open. A green light indicates that the module is in a healthy state. The middle set of lights represents the status of the intermediate module. A flashing red light indicates a jam. A green light indicates that the module is in a healthy state. The bottom light represents the status of the lower module. A flashing red light indicates a jam or fault. A solid red light indicates that a latch is open or that all of the cassettes are missing. The amber light can be configured to illuminate when a cassette needs to be emptied or replenished. A green light indicates that the module is in a healthy state. There are maps on the side of both the upper and lower modules that contain status indicator lights to help pinpoint any areas of concern. On the upper module, there are indicators for the pocket, the shutter, the upper exception bin, the upper module latches, each transport, the escrow, and the bill validator. In general, a flashing red light indicates a jam or fault, while a solid red light indicates that a latch is open. A green light indicates that the component is in a healthy state. The indicator for the upper exception bin is slightly different than the others in this group. A flashing red light is not used. A solid red light indicates that the bin is full. An amber light indicates that the bin is nearly full. Like the others, green indicates a healthy state. This indicator will be off if the bin is not present. The lower module indicators include a light for all 4 cassettes, the 2 lower module transports, and 1 for each of the lower exception cassette compartments. A solid red light for any lower exception cassette compartment indicates that it is full. A flashing red light indicates a fault. A solid amber light for an exception or recycler cassette indicates that it needs to be emptied or filled. To empty the upper exception bin, lift the green latch on the transport and slide the bin out. If there is one, remove the security seal before lifting the green bin latch to open and empty the bin. After latching the bin, replace the security seal if required. Slide the bin into the transport, close the transport, and push on the green circle to make sure the transport is latched shut. To empty the lower exception bin, rack out the lower module. Use the green handle to lift the bin out of the BRM. Unlatch and remove the cassette lid. Remove any notes present in the deposit area. To empty the exception areas, press the green area of the pusher plates and slide them back to access the notes. After closing and latching the cassette, slide it back into the BRM. Rack in the lower module and make sure its status indicator turns green. Recycler cassettes are emptied in much the same way. Lift the green handle on the lower module to access the cassettes. Push the green tab while holding the pusher plate. Allow the plate to move all the way to the handle end of the cassette. To replenish a recycler cassette, place the lid on a flat surface and lean the cassette against it. There are slots on the underside that will engage with the lid to stabilize the cassette. The resulting angle will help with the note loading process. Use the green areas on the pusher plate to slide it into the end of the cassette until it locks into place. Working in bunches of about 100 notes, prepare them by holding them in one hand and fanning them out with the other. If the notes are new, repeat this action several times. Be sure to look for and remove any notes with obvious defects. Align the bunch into an orderly stack by tapping it on both the long and short edges. Place the first bunch of notes at the handle end of the cassette. Line it up with either the left or right-hand side. Load additional bunches into the cassette one at a time, alternating both the orientation and side-to-side alignment of each bunch. Stop loading notes when the maximum fill level indicator on the floor of the cassette is reached. The pusher plate is spring-loaded, so it may move abruptly when it is released. While holding the plate, press the green tab and allow the plate to slide down until it is resting firmly on the note stack. There are some adjustments possible for the cassettes and lids. Ensure that the cassette lids are matched with the cassette body before closing and latching the cassette. Replace the cassettes into the lower module. The locations of jams in the BRM are indicated by error messages displayed on the operator panel. The status indicator panels on the BRM will also show the location of any jams. During jam clearance, use care not to damage the white plastic prongs of the transport divert gates. Once a jam has been cleared from the indicated area, check the rest of the BRM by following all the jam clearance procedures. There may have been notes in other areas of the module at the time of the initial jam. Notes may also remain in the pocket module. In front access BRMs, open the shutter manually to remove them. If the BRM is equipped with an upper exception bin, use the green latch to open the upper exception bin transport and remove the bin. Look for jammed notes protruding from the bin. If necessary, open the bin to remove any jammed notes. Check the upper and lower portions of the upper exception bin transport for jammed notes. The green wheel can be used to improve access to the notes. Replace the upper exception bin and push down on the green circle to close the bin transport. Next, open the bridge transport using the green latch. Carefully remove any jammed notes before pressing down on the green circle to close and latch the transport. The escrow exit transport is cleared next. Unlatch the transport and carefully remove any jammed notes. Use the green wheels to move the jam backward or forward if necessary. Any notes wound inside the escrow drum can be unwound once the BRM is powered up. Close the transport by pressing down on the green circle. Jam clearance continues by opening the two halves of the upper module. It does not matter which half is opened first, but be aware the halves are heavy and require two hands to lift. Unlatch and lift the module half until it is supported on its strut. Then do the same for the other half. Under the right-hand half of the upper module, open each of the three green tabs and carefully remove any jammed notes. There are three green wheels that can be turned to facilitate note removal. Under the left-hand half of the upper module, use the green latch to open the bill validator. While being careful not to touch the bill validator's glass strips, remove any jammed notes. If necessary, use the green wheel to make note removal easier. Close and latch the bill validator when finished clearing it. The escrow entry transport can be checked for jams by using the green tabs to open both transport sections. The same green wheel used for the bill validator can be used to move any jams backward or forward. Using the green tab, open the transport in the end of the left half of the upper module. Remove any jammed notes found there. The two halves of the upper module can be lowered in any order, but it requires two hands. First, lift up slightly on the large green handle. Use one finger to push and hold the small green latch to release the hinge. While continuing to hold the small latch, push down on the handle to close the module half. If the module half catches at the halfway detent position, repeat the procedure to finish closing the module half. Check the status indicators for the upper module. If any of the indicators are red, go back and check the indicated area for remaining jams or open latches. For jam clearance in the intermediate module, access the upper module. Check the base of the ATM cabinet for notes or debris in the top of the intermediate transport. Carefully remove the jam. To check the other end of the intermediate transport, access the lower module. Remove any notes or debris from the transport as it enters the security enclosure through the ceiling. For jams in the lower module, begin by using the green handle to open the lower horizontal transport until it is supported by the metal strut. If any jam notes are found, carefully remove them. Close the transport. Confirm that it is latched by pushing down on the green circle. Next, open the lower module using the green handle on the side. Remove any notes visible in the transport or sticking out of the cassettes. Use the green handle to remove cassette number 1. Open the vertical transport using its green latch. Remove any jammed notes that may be present. With the jam cleared, release the transport and replace the bin and cassette number 1. Finally, close the lower horizontal transport. Check the status indicators for the lower module. If any of the indicators are red, go back and check the indicated area for remaining jams or open latches. A flashing amber light at the cassette means that the fill level is unknown, but this is not a concern. This status will change after initialization. This video presentation has provided a basic overview of the modules that comprise the bunch recycler module with a brief functional explanation. For a more detailed understanding of the operation of the BRM, watch the second video in this series, NCR Bunch Recycler Module Video Number 2, Theory of Operation.